So I opened up my email earlier, and what do I see? The new Buckcherry sitting for me. Okay, I know Apoc's metal review is metal. I'll admit, I'm a fan of rock. Growing up, I actually kind of enjoyed Buckcherry. Not so much now, but I did own their debut. Liked a couple songs off their second album, not so much their third, but yeah, haven't been a fan for a while. Seeing this sitting here worried me, especially since Century Media Records is putting it out. Unfortunately, Century Media Records is also putting out bands like Lions now. Oh, God. I don't know why. I'm assuming marketing, they're trying to branch out. Can't really push Dark Tranquillity for too long, I'd assume. Either way, Buckcherry, Confessions. Yeah. Start by saying it's about 51 minutes. If you look at the song titles, a lot of it seems to be based around the 7 Deadly Sins. Granted, not all of the lyrics reflect that. Okay. There's a high-quality production to the album. It does kind of hurt it a bit, and the guitars have sort of a mid-range distortion to them. They're kind of blunt in a way. The bass is pretty loud, and it's kind of deep. It works. The drums, the cymbals are pretty crisp, there's no washout. The snares have a tight snap to them when they're hit. Bass kicks a subtle click to them. It doesn't really make much of an impact. It's about what you would expect for a major hard rock band at this point. The vocals... Well, there's keyboards. There's keyboards in it. There's some tambourines, too, largely used in the chorus, and the keyboards range from having a typical electronic keyboard sound to a piano and a little more. And then there's the vocals. Look, if you've heard a Buckcherry song, you know what to expect. Very monotone at times. Half the time it just sounds like he's just screaming with that harsher approach. I'm not going to go any further on the vocals. The vocals on this really irritated me on many songs, and I'll get to one that really irritated me soon. First, let's talk about the single, Gluttony. Gluttony kicks off the album. It's the lead single. It's a catchy but very simple song, really generic. The chorus is a little more upbeat, a little faster compared to the rest of the song. It does have a slight attitude. Honestly, I don't know why it was one of the singles. I mean, I can kind of grasp why they went with that one, but it's just not that good. The tambourine in the chorus helps to make the chorus catchy, but the rest of the song is just boring. It's just generic. It's simple, modern rock. It's not that good. The next song is Wrath. It's a slower... kind of a slower track. It's got really catchy music. Honestly, this was the best song off of it as far as the music goes. The main verses had a really good attitude, sort of like a 70s funk to the song, if you will. Like, I could just picture somebody walking and kind of doing the pip walk kind of thing, having some attitude, asserting himself a little bit, and then the vocals. Oh my god, the freaking vocals! The entire song is basically done like this, the entire freaking time. It's basically him just shouting like this. And then the chorus hits and he adds some melody and harmonization to it, and it still sucks. Half the time he sounds off key. The rest of the time he's just shouting at you. In the same monotone voice. I want to strangle something. Oh my god, it's such a good song, but the vocals honestly just completely ruin it, and it really hurts. If you can drown out the vocals somehow and just concentrate on the music, it's impossible to not bang your head along to it. Maybe banging your head along is a little bit of an overstatement. Maybe bobbing your head along. I was bobbing it along to the song no matter what. And from there, basically, all the songs become simple, even simpler than Gluttony, which is sad. Another one that stood out was The Truth. Oh, God. The lyrics are as bad as the vocals half the time, and this one, I don't know, it's a slower ballad song. the vocals and the lyrics are not so bad on this one compared to some of the other songs. Half the time it just sounds like the album is being written by an angry 7th grader. Or not 7th grader, 7-year-old. That's more appropriate. But the music half the time really isn't that bad. It's hindered a lot by the production because many of the songs end up sounding hollow and empty. You just can't really get into it. You're waiting for that rich sound, which requires usually a tambourine or the keyboards. And the truth, it's a slower ballad, and it kind of works with that production quality. There's a little emotion to it. Listening to it, it felt like it's something that should be played at a bar when you're there trying to drown your sorrows. Especially the guitar solo. The guitar solo had a good deal of emotion in it, and honestly it was the best part of the entire song. I really liked it. I wish there were more of it. More like that, I should say. The cleaner singing approach to this, without him shouting pretty much in that raspy harshness kind of tone from start to finish, honestly it sounds good. I liked the slower songs compared to many of the other songs because it showed him more in pitch with the song, catering more to the actual environment and atmosphere, the emotion, however you want to call it. It sounded a little better. And then there's Sloth, which is similar to The Truth. The only difference is it has more emotion to it. And it sounded good. It didn't really come off as a song you would listen to in a bar to try and drown your sorrows to. But it's still a good track. I actually really enjoyed it. I'll back up for a second. I really enjoyed most of it. The main issue here, and I don't get why they did this. They have pianos in the very beginning, and it sounds great. It adds to the emotion, and then all of a sudden it goes to generic keyboards. The generic keyboard kills most of the emotion, and honestly just kills a lot of the song. And the lyrics conclude about suicide. The song essentially is patterned in not patterned, but built in a way that it builds up towards the end like a Meatloaf song. I could always get into that. I enjoy Meatloaf, the band, Meatloaf, the singer. I enjoy him, even his acting. I could always enjoy the way its songs progress and get stronger, more emotional at the end. And then just right at the end you get hit with that powerful finale in many, many hits. I was on board, but again, the keyboards, that just really, really hurt the song. Finally, the last one I'm going to talk to is Pride, and I have to address this song, because it honestly is the most unique track off the album. It is also easily one of the most boring and bland. It was a good idea, good intention, and I gotta give them points for trying something new and innovative. This song sounds like a Western song, not a country song, it sounds Western. The main verses actually have that kind of cowboy-esque feel to it. Vocals, meh, could have been a little better. But then it just goes into a very generic melodic chorus. Like, if you tune into any radio station at this point and you hear a melodic chorus, that's essentially what you're getting. Of course, the keyboards in the song are organs. They're like church organs. And that sounds great in this. It actually suits the atmosphere of the Western tone. But to completely remove the Western feel that you have in the verses for a melodic chorus that is clearly just aimed at trying to appease fans, oh my god, why lose the originality? It's a good intent, but it's just... Even the Western verses are just bland, boring, open, empty, because of that production. This is a pretty typical album. If you enjoyed the last two Buckcherry CDs, you're probably going to enjoy this. But if you're a fan waiting for the early days of the band to come back, like the first two albums, you're going to be let down. There's really nothing of interest here. And he's restrained himself in the vocals as to just swearing randomly, but there is still swearing for the sake of swearing. And half the time it just doesn't even sound good with the songs. It's like catchy, okay, mainstream beat. I can bob my head along to, and there's an F-bomb. Why was there an F-bomb? And that's basically all he says. I think he says shit once, but it's mostly just F-bombs everywhere. I do have to admit, though, about the vocals, they get progressively better about halfway through. And that's just because he's not just shouting at you half the time. And he really does try to get on pitch more with the music, I think. Just the first half is pretty rough to listen to with the vocals. It's a largely upbeat album. There's very little emotion to it. I mean, don't get me wrong. When I say upbeat, I don't mean you're going to feel good after listening to it. It's just, they try to go for lighter, not happier songs, but songs that are just not ones that'll down you. Like the other two slower ballads that you'll feel like you want to go to a bar and start drinking your sorrows away. The album does end with another ballad track. It's just not worth anything. It's not worth talking about. It's the most generic track off the entire album, so I'm not even really going to address it. But honestly, shortly after the first few songs, it does lose some steam, outside of the few that I pointed out in this review. I don't know. Just, the audio quality leaves everything so empty. The vocals are such a challenge to get through sometimes. I'm sorry, guys, I gotta give it a 5.5. Yeah, 5.5. Even the best songs on here are not that memorable. So, if you're looking forward to the new Buckcherry, by all means, sample it first. Do not run out and buy this album. You need to sample more than just the single. And by all means, what was it? Wrath. Check out Wrath. It's a good song if you could look past the vocals. In fact, it's one of the better ones. So, seriously, hold off on buying this. If you know somebody who did run out and buy it, listen to their copy. Check it out on iTunes first, with their audio samples. See if it's something you can enjoy. I'm sure it'll be loaded to YouTube and various song streams from people who love loading songs thinking they're helping out the band with their authorizations. So, yeah, 5.5, really not that good, and it honestly was just more of a struggle for me. And this is coming from a guy who somebody just brought into question in another review. I like rock. I like early rock. I like bands like Bob Seger and the Silver Bullet Band. I like listening to Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers. I saw them live. Fantastic performance. The Who. I like The Who. In fact, there's a song on here that actually kind of sounds like it's influenced by The Who. But overall, modern rock has just gone downhill, as has Buckcherry, clearly influenced by their success. Because this is nothing but generic mainstream rock for about 3/4 of the album. So if you like generic, cheesy stuff, okay. If not, 5.5, beware.